Here's my sunglasses. There's CJ. CJ, if you wouldn't mind. And Kevin, you want to stay there until it's your turn? Okay. Well, hey, I'm so excited to have you all. Welcome to the Anthem, and welcome to this event. You could see what it's all about right from that logo that Jordan made. I wanted to first thank Donna Westmoreland, our COO, who runs the entire company, I.M.P, and helped build this place, and Dory, who is the general manager of it. And rather than me say what we're here to do today, I will turn it over right now to Councilmember Charles Allen.
Thank you. Thanks, Audrey. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Charles Allen, the Ward 6 council member, and I am thrilled to be sharing the stage with everyone up here. One of the things that we have in Ward 6 and we have across the entire city are amazing music venues. We have amazing spaces where we have artists and we have our city really come together. I want to thank I.M.P for their partnership in working on and crafting the legislation that we're here to talk about today, as well as the National Independent Venue Association for leading on this issue nationally. DC is not alone here. And while the DC Attorney General, Brian Schwab, couldn't make it today, we do have members of his staff and their consumer protection team to show they're ready to get started, and appreciate you all being here too. Again, I'm honored to be up on this stage with so many people who make DC's music scene so special, and to announce the legislation that I think is going to strengthen our music scene and protect the public and our concert goers by making it a lot more affordable to go see a live concert. Today, I'm proud to be announcing the Restricting Egregious Scalping Against Live Entertainment Amendment Act, or the Resale Act. We like our acronyms, so we'll call it the Resale Act. The bill goes after one of the main cost drivers and the frustrations of buying a concert ticket: digital scalpers and middlemen. Concert goers, pure and simple, are getting price gouged. Often, as digital scalpers are using technology to scoop up tickets immediately and then drive the price up on those tickets. When you see a $55 ticket on pre-sale for as much as $1,000, that increased cost is not going to the artist, it is not going to the venue. It's going to that digital scalper and platforms like StubHub and Vivid Seats, Ticket Network, Ticket Center, and SeatGeek. These digital scalpers and platforms, they're not performing on this stage. They're not running the venue. They are just the middleman, making everything a little bit worse and a lot more expensive. On top of how the market drives up prices immediately, scalpers also offer what's known as speculative tickets, which is a ticket they don't actually have in their possession prior to initial tickets going on sale. What this does, it both spikes the cost, and it also can lead to situations where someone thinks that they've bought a ticket only to find out they actually didn't, and they struggle to get a refund. The resale market right now needs to be corrected because our artists, our local venues, like those that are here with us today, and DC residents are being taken advantage of. When it costs hundreds of dollars more than it should just to go see a weeknight show, it hurts our music scene because fans are being priced out and they're staying home. So here's what the Resale Act is going to propose to do to fix these problems. First, it sets a price cap on the amount that a ticket can be resold on the secondary market. The legislation is going to propose that whatever someone paid for the initial ticket is what they can sell it for in the secondary market, up to 10% of that initial ticket cost. Second, it bans the practice of speculative tickets, because if you don't actually have something to offer, then you shouldn't be able to deceive consumers. And next, it requires all-in pricing at both the initial sale and the resale of a ticket, which helps inform our consumers, our residents, about the initial ticket price, plus, of course, any other taxes and fees, so consumers aren't pressured into paying outrageous fees at the last minute. And I'll emphasize, DC law currently requires merchants to disclose their price up front to their consumers, but we want to clarify that for our concert tickets. And then, of course, to ensure compliance with what we're proposing here, the legislation would have ticket resellers that sell or list 50 or more tickets a year to register with the district. Those resellers would be required to provide certain information to the district government, like the total number of tickets they're selling, the original price of each ticket they purchased, and how much they resold the ticket for on the secondary market. We've also proposed that each reseller that registers with the district has to have a surety bond of no less than $10,000 in the event that a reseller fails to deliver the tickets or engages in fraudulent activities. That way, a consumer that's harmed is able to be made whole by the surety bond. I want to thank the folks at I.M.P, at NEVA, DC Attorney General's Office for working together with us on this legislation. I think we all recognize the district needs a comprehensive set of laws and enforcement to deter these scalpers from continuing to price gouge and to deceive DC residents and visitors. Lastly, I also want to note and thank my colleagues that have co-introduced this legislation: Councilmembers Brianne Nadeau, Kenya McDuffie, Christina Henderson, Robert White, Janice Lewis-George, Zachary Parker, and Matt Fruman. I appreciate the support of so many colleagues already as we get this bill started, and the many people that helped us work on this drafting and getting it ready today. Next, I'm going to bring back up Audrey Schaefer, Director of Communications for I.M.P, and then we'll take some questions just a little bit.
Thank you so much, and I need to tip my hat to the people that are here with us on stage. When we have this industry coming together, it means that we have representatives from DC9, from Black Cat, Capital Turnaround, the Hamilton, the Howard, the Lincoln Theater, the Anthem, the Atlantis, the 930 Club, Miracle Theater, Pearl Street Warehouse, Pie Shop, Songbird, Union Stage, and we have U Street Music Hall, and All Good Presents. So that lets you know that we all are feeling the pain and we want to make a change. And what you just heard today, there's nothing else like it in the country. And the people have asked me, why do you care so much about this? If you sell a ticket, you sell a ticket. But that's not how it works. If people get gouged unnecessarily buying a $500 ticket that they could have paid $50 for, theoretically that's 9 shows that they're not going to. And that harms our entire music ecosystem. That means that they're not discovering more artists, they're not bringing more fans, more friends, and it hurts the artist. Artists work really hard to decide what the prices of their ticket should be. And it's based on, well, CJ will tell you, but it's based on their art, what it costs to hire the band, what it costs to go from town to town. And that somebody else should think that they're going to make more money than the artist, that has nothing to do with it, that is pretty gross. So this bill that will be going through the system in DC will cure that. I just wanted to show you a couple of the egregious, and it happens every single week. Every single week. A couple of the ones that just stand out that would make your eyes pop about what we find on the secondaries. By the way, the people who sell on a secondary platform, we don't know who they are. Nobody does, except for the platform. It's almost like ticket washing. So it's the scalpers that this bill hits. This was a show at Lincoln Theater. We listed it for $56. This is on Stub. We announced it this morning, so talk about fresh. There's not a single ticket for sale, but if you go to StubHub right now, you'll see one for $1,200. Wrong. At the Atlantis, it happens at every single one of our venues. It's kind of my point. At the Atlantis, we have a band, Richie. You know, I don't even know this guy. I feel badly. Richie Mitch. And look what they're doing with his tickets. A $25 ticket? That's wrong. The 930 Club, a $55 ticket, $12,000. That's insanity. I don't know that anybody bought that. Somebody might have. And they have, when they find out that they could have gone to our window and bought it for that price that's down below, they're probably not going to go to a concert again. And the last one I'll show you is here at the Anthem with Gracie Abrams. It just breaks my heart to see them do this. and that will stop. The last thing I want to say before I move on is it as we said, obviously harms the consumer. It harms the venues that are here, because if people can go to fewer shows, that they're not coming through our doors, they're not buying beverages or merchandise, and that harms us. And they're turning people off to the entire experience. But it's an economic development issue because it harms the city. There was a study out of Chicago the year before COVID that showed for every dollar spent at a small music venue, $12 of economic activity was realized by area businesses. These venues are a magnet for the city. People fly in, they drive in, and when they come here, they go to the restaurants, they stay at the hotels, they go to the bars. If they're not able to come, then it just harms the city. And everybody's heard the story about people flying overseas to see Beyonce and Taylor Swift because it was less expensive there than to fly and to get a hotel than to buy a ticket in the US. That needs to stop, and it will here. So at this point, I want to thank everybody who has supported this. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Councilmember Allen and his team, who are just fantastic. And I think you need to hear it from an artist, one of my absolute favorites, who happens to be a DC person, CJ Johnson, who is with Oh He Dead.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is CJ Johnson. I am a lead singer of band DC bass band Oh He Dead. I'm also born and raised DC, and I've been playing music with this band for a long time. I want to say since I was 18 years old, and it's been a little heartbreaking to see the work we put in, and also along with these venues, that they put in a lot of work to make sure they get people to come out to our shows and support us. And we set these ticket prices so that people can afford to come see us and enjoy our music, or even if they've never listened to us before, so they can enjoy to hear it for the first time. And to have them be raised to such a price to where they're unaffordable, or they're not even getting their tickets. It's just unfortunate. We recently had a show at the Atlantis, and it was sold out. And I had a lot of friends and family who wanted to be there, and they couldn't get tickets because they were going for $80 to $500, and the ticket was only $25. And they could not afford that ticket. And I went and purchased those tickets because I needed them to be there. And it was the only way that they were going to be there. And that's concerning. That's me being an artist and a consumer at the same time. And for that to happen, I don't want that to be something that's happening to all these artists who are trying to make it, who are touring, who need that income to keep going, for their fans to come out and listen to them. So I just want to thank everybody for letting me be here and talk to you guys about that. And thank you again for supporting this and getting this going. So.
Thank you, CJ. And at this point, I'd like to pull up Stephen Parker, who's the Executive Director of the National Independent Venue Association.
Thank you, Audrey. The people who are up here on stage, I want you to look at them. They're more than just the people that are standing up here so that we have a full stage. These are the folks that do the hard work every single night to put on thousands of shows a year here in the DC. And everything they do is because they love it. It's not because this work is easy. It's not. It's not because they're making a lot of money. They're certainly not. They're doing this because they care deeply about making sure that CJ and her band and thousands of artists like them have a place to play every night. The scalpers and resale market that's unchecked across the country, including here in DC, is making it harder for those stages to continue to exist. And ultimately, the dollars that they are taking from fans that are coming into DC and the fans that live here and go to shows are leaving this community and going to multi-billion-dollar platforms like StubHub and Vivid Seats that are hiring lobbyists to fight back against good legislation just like this. This Resale Act is hope. If it's passed as is, it will be the strongest resale accountability bill in the country. And that's why we have to keep going. There will be people that come out of the woodwork that are paid by multi-billion-dollar companies to say that this bill is bad. It isn't. It's pro-fan, no matter what they say. And there will be people that say that this bill goes too far, and it doesn't. Because ultimately, the biggest threat to live entertainment in this country and in the district is the fact that there is price gouging and deception that run rampant across the internet. And it's fueled by people like StubHub, who spent nearly $1 billion last year trying to make sure that their results show up above all the venues and promoters on this stage. So while this is just the beginning, and there's a little bit of a road to go before this legislation passes, I want to say to Councilmember Allen, thank you. I want to thank him for standing strong, and I want to thank the entire council that has signed on to this bill for carrying this forward. And I just want you to know that everybody up here, and myself, and an entire community across DC and the broader DMV region have your back. We are here to make sure that this bill passes, no matter what anybody tries to put in the way of it passing. And I'll also just say that we need it to pass. This can be a national model for what resale looks like across the country to make sure that people are protected. Before I go, I just want to thank Audrey Schaefer. She is the driving force behind this bill. She's the vice president of the National Independent Venue Association, and we are so fortunate that she fights this fight here in DC and in Maryland and in states across the country. And I want to thank Kendall Gilmore on our staff for making sure that we played a critical role in moving this forward. Thank you to everybody up here who works so hard every night to make sure that fans can have a place to stay. And thank you to the artists like CJ, who puts their heart and soul on the stage every night to make sure that people have a safe place to go. Thank you.
It's a team. It's a team. And speaking of team, Kevin Erickson with the Future Music Coalition, come on up.
Thank you. I just want to offer a little bit of context. Like when you think about iconic artists like Duke Ellington, like Chuck Brown, like Bad Brains, like Fugazi, and all our friends out on the road now, part of their genius is singularly theirs, but part of it is about bringing the creative insights of a particular music community to a broad audience. And some of that is about musical insight, but some of that is about community practices, about the choices that you make about how you bring your music to the world. DC's music community has this incredible tradition of valuing accessibility, inclusion, of a participatory culture, the idea that you can be a part of it, that people will help you do it, they'll teach you how to put out a 7-inch record. All ages shows, pricing a ticket below what a theoretical market could bear. This is part of this community's DNA, right? Our friend Bertrand Evans-Taylor from Dance USA has said that a ticket is a physical symbol of access to the arts. And this takes on like even greater importance when you understand that active participation in music culture is about something that's bigger and more profound than celebrity and commerce and entertainment. It's a vehicle by which communities have historically voiced issues of concern and been galvanized. These ideas and the way they've manifested specifically in DC have already had profound impact around the world. 25 years ago, Future Music Coalition was started in part with the idea that some of the insights of the independent music community could be applied to public policy. We have to move away from debates that are dominated by a set of big corporations on one side and another set of big corporations on the other side. And if we do that, we can get to policies and business practices and systems that align the interests of artists and fans. We don't have to accept the way things are. We don't have to accept extraction-based business models. We can imagine something better. We have to bring people together across differences and commit to collaborative problem solving, and include the ecosystem of diverse businesses that contribute to our music communities. It's going to look like different things in different contexts and different scales, but all of this works best when we understand that musicians and fans are on the same team and we work for systems and policies that treat both parties as crucial contributors to this precious thing that happens when people come together around live music. And that is part of what's happened in this national agenda that has coalesced around this idea of fixing ticketing, fix the ticks. And here in DC, we're especially well equipped to contribute to that. We have an Attorney General's office that has shown real leadership in both participation in the DOJ case, taking on the monopoly problems, and also simultaneously taking on StubHub over deceptive practices. We have a lot of momentum. Last year, we saw strong bills passed in red states and blue states alike, Arizona, Minnesota, Maryland, more likely this year. And so the opportunity we have now in DC is to bring the insights of this community around inclusion and accessibility and making the rules ourselves as artists and fans to the national stage. Thanks.
So one last thing I wanted to add is, and this is something that I think all of us up here feel very passionately about, is that this bill is written with teeth. And the enforcement aspect is real. And I think we will have the attention of the people who are making their business scalping and hosting scalpers on their platforms when the fine will be $5,000 per ticket for the first infraction and $10,000 per ticket for subsequent ones.
Wow.
I have a feeling that will go a long way to ensure that people in the District of Columbia can get a ticket at face value like the artist hoped for. So thank you all so much for all you've done. And if, I don't know if anybody has any questions, but we're here.
I'm going to repeat the question just so that everybody who hears. The question was, what type of road does this travel to the council? Well, I'd love to be able to predict it exactly. It's going to be unanimous vote and support. What's going to happen is the bill's going to be introduced. Already we have 8 co-introducers. I hope to get a couple of more online with their names on the bill. Obviously that's 8 out of 12, so you're starting with 2/3 of the council already in support. That bodes well for this bill's success. It'll get referred to a committee. We don't yet know exactly which committee it gets referred to. The next step after that will be a public hearing where I have a hunch. All our friends will be showing up for that, and then it'll come for a vote. So I don't have an exact timeline, but I think you can, if you see 8 council members co-introducing a bill, it does foreshadow what the final vote's going to be. I'd like to see it up in the fall, absolutely. Thanks. Megan?
Yeah, if you can hear me back here. I'm interested, Audrey, if you can talk a little bit about the evolution of ticket sales and how the advent of these middlemen platforms have changed, you know, the scope of, like, how many tickets are they snatching up compared to how many you're selling direct at the door? What's the scope of the issue of, you know, when you put tickets on sale, where are they going?
Sure. Well, as you saw from that slide, people are putting tickets on sale that they don't have before we've released any. So that's a speculative aspect that will be illegal. It's a fake ticket. You can't sell what you don't have. I mean, that's what it should be. That's the first piece. The other piece is there has been a bots law that's been in force since 2016. It's federal. It has only been enforced one time in the United States, but people are using computer devices and bots to vacuum up all the tickets every single time shows go on sale. And it must be really, really hard to prevent that. I know the ticketing companies, the primary ticketing companies, do everything they can to combat it, but it still happens. And the beautiful thing about this bill is by taking the financial incentive out of it in DC, there's no reason why you would go in and use a bot to pick up a ticket that you have to sell only at face value. So there's that. But you asked the question also about people walking up. People do still walk up. Everybody's got different systems, but we have for our 4 venues in DC, we have box offices that are open, and you could buy a ticket to any of our shows at those box offices without a convenience fee because you made the effort to come on down. Metal Chris?
Yeah, this all sounds pretty good overall. The thing that I have seen or not heard anything about, though, is this going to impact Live Nation Ticketmaster, who run their own secondary markets. So you can buy a ticket directly at a lot of venues, but then are they still going to be able to increase these past the cap? Are they going to be considered a secondary ticket market or a primary ticket market? Because they are Ticketmaster, and as we know, they're the big dog here, bigger than SeatGeek and StubHub and all them.
So the 2 biggest threats to all the venues that you see represented on stage today are the resale market that is going to be fixed in DC and the Live Nation monopoly. This bill absolutely would apply to Live Nation as I read it, and ultimately Live Nation, in addition to their monopoly power, because of the resale market, they're part of the problem, and this would apply to them as well.
If I could, real quickly, the way the bill is written, it's agnostic. It doesn't matter who you are or what platform you use. You cannot sell a ticket for more than you bought it for all in, plus up to 10% for the platform that's hosting you, because they're giving you something. Well, it's, I would say it's everybody, but the resale market, the ones that are where I will tell you, the ones that we are seeing the worst behavior on is StubHub, VividSeat, Ticket Center, Ticket Network. Those are some of the biggest ones, but then, they can morph over and over.
How exactly are you going to be able to enforce this? Like, just a brief explanation on how will it be enforced? Like, you're going to identify somebody?
The enforcement mechanism is set up through the Office of the Attorney General. So the legislation looks at, we already have a pretty robust consumer protection unit at the Office of the Attorney General, so they already drive some success in that space, and so it's partnering with and having the enforcement come through the Office of the Attorney General.
Well, if anybody else has a question, let me know. If not, there's some refreshments over there and a beautiful dessert that we can call lunch. It's a Warfel. It's a special treat that you can only get here. It's a Belgian waffle with really gooey chocolate and caramel sauce. So have at it. Thank you all so much for coming. Really appreciate it.